I don't think we're going to do the breakouts tonight. With this many people, I think we can just stay in the same session. So we will skip those. But I'm trying to do some new stuff today. So we're going to be doing some polling, which is new. And also we might do breakout depending if we just had somebody join us. Welcome. Is it Janine or Jeannie? She's on mute, sorry. Here, I think I can unmute people. So welcome to the class tonight. So this is getting smart about smart devices. So I saw you came off mute. Was it Janine or Jeannie?
My mom said it was Jean.
Jean, okay.
So
well, welcome.
I went with that.
Very nice. And then we also had, looks like Cynthia just joined us. So welcome everyone. Let me see if I can get everybody's picture up and change my view on Zoom. Okay, great. So here we are. Thank you to Laurie for being our co-host for tonight and for hosting us from the Emmaus Public Library to do this fun class. I really, I like doing these, and I think we have somebody who is echoing. So I'm going to ask everybody to self-mute, and then I'm going to ask for your feedback and sharing. So you will come off mute in a few minutes, but just so we don't have an echo. So Laurie, can you go ahead and introduce yourself? And Laurie's going to be our co-host tonight. So she is going to be muting and unmuting and also helping with the recording and polling.
Hi, I'm Laurie. I am Emmaus Public Library's Adult Services Librarian. This is my cat, Ripley. She'll be hanging around. Sorry. I'm very happy to have all of you here. We've done many programs with Melissa, and her programs are always just amazing. She's a wonderful hostess. So I think you'll really enjoy the session tonight if you haven't already been to one of her sessions.
Awesome, thank you. So I know we have Nancy, who's been here before, but we do have some new faces. So welcome everybody. And we're going to talk tonight all about smart devices. So let's dive right into it. So the agenda is that we're going to be going through and kind of talking about assessing your smart device needs. Like, what is it that you really want to get out of using a smart device to its full extent? And then we're going to do a little exercise for 2 minutes. Just going to have you jot down some stuff on a piece of paper. So if you have paper, or if you have a smart device that you can take notes on, that will be what we'll be doing. And also, so then we'll go into exploring smart device functions, all the different things that we really are going to use the most on a smart device and that most people really get the most mileage out of. Then we have, we might or may not do, I think we have enough people to do a breakout. So we'll probably do a breakout into 2 groups, and I'll have you guys just kind of discuss, your experience using smart devices and what you most need to learn. And then one person will just report back for the group. And then we will just go through some tips for using all of our devices the best way and questions. So we did say that this is a bring your own device class. So if you have your device out, it's good to kind of, scroll through the applications and see if you have the ones that I'll be speaking about. And if you have questions, pull up whatever it is that you want to ask about. So first off, we have to really figure out what is it that you need a smart device for. Are you using it for personal use mostly or for business? And how is it going to serve you best in your productivity? So there's different types of features on every smart device. And in case you don't know, a smart device is anything that connects to the internet, basically. So we all are hearing a lot about this new Internet of Things. Everything is connecting these days. You have your Alexa connecting to your cell phone, connecting to your car, connecting to your light bulbs in your house. So those are all smart devices. but the ones that typically we're going to focus on tonight is your cell phone and tablets. So we have our safety features on a cell phone. My personal cell phone, it does have a fingerprint lock that I use. You always want to have a lock on your phone. If somebody wanted to take it, or you lost track of it, you would want to make sure that your device is not just open to the public and anybody could pick it up and be able to access your data and your specific information. And then you have your ease of use different type features. So this actually came up the other day. I was working with a client who she was using her computer, and the font was just so hard for her to read. Even though she had a big monitor, she did not have big enough text to be readable. So I knew that there was actually a feature on Windows for ease of use for text. So I helped her. I got some information, and then I'm going to revisit that. And this week when I work with her, hopefully we'll get that changed so that she can see the computer better. But those different features exist on iPhones and Androids to make the text bigger, make the screen brighter. They have different features for people who are, deaf and blind. So you have to kind of play around and see what is it that you need. And we have a chat from Pepper. Will we receive a replay afterwards? Thank you so much for having me. So you're welcome. And we are going to send out a recording on this session tonight. I have my emails all set up and ready to go for tomorrow morning. My virtual assistant is waiting to send out this recording to everybody who signed up. So, and also it will be available. I think the library will put it on their Facebook as well, just so you know. So, and if you have any chats, just you can address them to Laurie or myself, but Laurie will be able to answer any quick questions, and then she'll be able to report them to me, just so I don't have to stop. So she's our co-host, or she actually is our host, and I'm the co-host. So we have privacy features with your phone. Like I said, you have to make sure your data isn't being shared with just anyone. There's also applications that are specifically made to protect you while you're using your smart device. A lot of people don't know that you can get like a VPN, which is a virtual private network for your smart device. That's just one example of different privacy features. Now, the 3 ways that you can control your phone, obviously we have a touch screen. I personally use touch for most things. And then you also have your voice control, which is like if we were to say a voice command such as, Alexa, start a timer, or if you have a Google device, I believe it's okay Google, which is supposed to start your, if I say it right now, okay Google, I think it does pop up. See, so that's listening now. So those, and then you also have a motion control. So where are we? So the main ways that most people use their smart devices for time management, particularly the calendar. I love my calendar on my smart device because I'm able to take it with me when I go out. So I have one client who's really old-fashioned. He just loves having a paper planner and doesn't really embrace the phone calendar. But you find that with a paper calendar, you're not able to just update it quickly on the fly. You have to completely erase an appointment, and then it looks messy. Whereas with a smart device, if you have your calendar on one device, you can have it on multiple different places, and it's updated in real time so that you can create an event on your computer and take it onto your smartphone and access it from your tablet, and they're all updating one another so that you're never having to erase or make a messy mark in a paper planner. Also, to-do lists are a big item. I personally love to-do lists on my phone. And alarms. For me personally, I trust my smart device over my traditional alarm clock. I guess it's just the generation that I grew up in is more reliant on smartphones, but I'm honestly, like, I'm scared that my alarm wouldn't go off, but my smartphone, I know I can set it and it either reoccurs each week at the same time, and it has never let me down. So then also you have obviously you have social media. We all love to take pictures on our phone and share them, and texting. So there's a lot of different functions that you can do between photography and shopping, all from a smart device. And so we want our devices to all talk together, right? So that's why you typically, if you're gonna go with one operating platform, like, you would want to keep that consistent throughout. So for me, it's Android. I have Android devices, and I don't have any, like iPhones or iPads. Like, I keep everything in the Android device because that way they actually work together better. We talked a little bit about, your home automation, using your hubs to control your appliances, security systems. So there's just a lot you can really do with your devices. So before we do our exercise, I actually want, Laurie, could you launch the poll? I want to just take a survey of everybody that's on the call today. And so we have 2 questions on this survey. I want to find out, what is it that you want to learn most tonight? So the choices are how to use calendar application, how to use a to-do application, how to use scanning application, and printing from a smart device. And then also the second question, I just would like you to rate your skills with your smart devices. So we'll give it about a minute here.
So 9 to 10 would be most skilled?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we have 2 votes. So we have 3 of us that still need to vote. Okay, now we have 3 out of 4. Okay, so Laura, you can go ahead and end the poll for us. So we actually have a pretty even split here. This is very interesting. We have 2 people that wanted, oh, can you go ahead and share the results now for them? Okay, so we have 2 people that voted that they want to learn the calendar application most. Next, we have 2 out of 4 that would like to do the to-do application. 1 out of 4 for scanning application, so we'll spend less time on scanning. So either you guys are already really good on scanning or just not that important. And then 2 also voted for printing from a device. And when we look at the results for your skills, we have 2 people that are 8 through 7 and 2 that are 4 through 3. So that's great. We have kind of just an even spread, and you guys are a little bit on the opposite end of the spectrum with technology, like being comfortable with technology. So maybe I wish we could match up 1-on-1, but I think we're gonna skip the breakout. We're just gonna stay and share with each other. So for the exercise, like I said, I want everybody to get out a piece of paper, and I would like you to write down your top needs from your smart device. So I'm going to stop sharing actually. So what is it that I would like you to write down 5 things that you most want to get out of using a smart device. So is it that you want to learn?
Like ever? Like use it ever? Why do I have one?
Like the top 5 things that you want to get out of using a device. Yeah. Like in the order of your priority. So, like I
Or
said,
for tonight.
just in general. Yeah, like what is the top 5 things? Like I want each person to have a record so that they can know what to focus on and where they most want to ask questions and put their effort forth. So I'll make a list here for myself too. And we're going to start a timer for 2 minutes. On my smart device. Okay. So I have about another minute. Okay. Okay, so is there anybody who's ready? Some of you may need a little bit more time, but is anybody ready who can share their top 5 things that they want to gain from using their smart devices? Okay, go right ahead, Jean.
These are pretty broad, but the first one was to connect with people, whether it's by phone, email, texting, social media. The second one was referencing, like note-taking apps and searching for Safari for recipes or whatever. The third one would be for photos and scanning. The fourth one would be for mapping, and that could be, I do walking, so I could use a walk app for that. And then productivity, which I don't really use my phone for a lot of productivity, but I might consider doing more on the phone.
Yeah, you're right. That is broad, but you know, those kind of fit into the same general category. So, and one thing that I just recently started learning more about is the Fitbit, which is something that I haven't myself embraced, but I've had a few clients now who wanted help with their Fitbit, and so I learned about how you have. Anybody have a Fitbit here?
One more thing to buy.
So you two that have Fitbits, can you tell us like a little bit about how it helps you and what you like about it? Since that is a smart device, that your Fitbit is a wearable technology. So I saw
Yeah,
a lot.
I
Go
just
ahead.
started it using last week.
Oh,
And So I think everybody says you should do 10,000 steps a day to be
Mm.
healthy or to stay healthy. And I'm realizing if I'm at home, I really don't get more than 3,000 to 4,000 in. So it's a great motivator to, just to do more and being motivated to do a walk. So I'm not really into smart devices, and so I think I'm not really interested in my BPM and how much calories I spend doing this walk. But I think I just a motivator to get moving.
Very nice. And what about you, Laurie? What,
I haven't worn it in a little bit, but I found it useful just to keep an eye on how much or how little I was or wasn't moving. Working at the library, sometimes I sit at the desk for longer than I realize. Time passes and I'm still sitting there. So it helps remind me to get up and move around when I need to. And it's also handy for a silent alarm. So you wear it and you set it for a certain time, and then it just vibrates on your wrist. So that way it doesn't wake up, your spouse or whoever. So I like that, and my husband likes that too. So
yeah, that does sound nice. So yeah, some of the uses that I've seen is that you can share, like you can, I guess, have friends and profiles that you challenge each other. If you have like friends that you like to work out with, or that like to hold you accountable, you can challenge each other through the website to do certain steps. And it also tracks your sleep. So some of my clients, they'll tell me like, oh, well, I got really good sleep, or, it says I woke up this many times throughout the night. So I certainly haven't tried it, but the Fitbit does seem like it has a lot of benefits for exercising and for like you said, motivating, encouraging you to exercise. I don't know if it has the specific, like if it tracks where you walked or if you can do what you want to do, but it might be something to look into. So who else wants to share something from their list? We have Nancy, Utah, and Pepper, I think. I'm not sure who that is, but go right ahead.
I know that there's Google Docs that you could use on your tablet. So I have an iPad and I have no clue how to do it. But I think it would be a really nice feature to work on the tablet and generating documents that I then can later transfer to my computer and continue working with it on it, so that I have the tablet with me, but not my whole computer all the time.
Yes, that is one thing that I personally do a lot of, is using Google Docs, because I work in the field with clients, and then I work at home. So, if I'm out and about, it's nice to have Google Docs available to either edit something quickly or to send something to someone. And it also offers sharing capabilities. So I can share a document right from my phone, and it saves me from constantly, like you said, having to have my computer out, which is not practical a lot of times. So I really like Google Docs, and we can do that right now if you want. Is so in order to have Google Docs on your tablet, you would need to go to the App Store and search for the Google Docs app. And then once you pull it up, you're gonna get it. You're gonna download the Google Docs app. And also you might need Google Drive as well, which is the file storage application. So it's kind of it's not that complicated, but you have Google Drive, which is your file storage. So that's like where you are going to locate all your files and organize them. And then you have Google Docs, which is similar to Microsoft Word. And that allows you to, have basically, like you said, a Word document. And then there's also a separate application if you wanted to do Excel type documents, which is called Google Sheets. So it's similar and they are compatible. So once you downloaded the applications that you need to work on, like maybe you're only making Word type documents, you would only need that and probably Google Drive. And then you would create a new document, which is, it's just like a plus button to create the new document. And then you would have to download it as either a Word document or as a Google Doc or as PDF. So it's not, you know, so it is a really great way to work personally. When I was in college, I was using the computer lab computers, and the thing about them is that they would crash a lot of times. So I started using Google Docs at the time to be able to work on a document, and then if my computer crashed, it was basically hosted in the clouds and it updated, so I didn't lose like a whole paper. You know, the first time you do that, you're like, you're ready to throw the computer out the window. So that's when I started using it, and it's really interesting, like you said, because you can access your files from all your different devices. So I have the documents back. I think I have some of the papers still from college, which was about 10 years ago. So, you know, they keep updating and they get stored there on the cloud. So they're not on your specific computer, and you're able to still access them, and they are just attached to your Google account. So does that make sense? That was a lot.
It makes sense. So I took notes and I think I will try it out after the session. So that's good.
Okay.
So I had no clue how to get started, but
There you
upstairs is
go.
a good thing.
That's
Thank you.
a relatively easy fix, but it's a really, really powerful program. I love the Google Docs and Google Drive. I have Google Chromebooks, which are computers without a hard drive. They basically operate off of Google apps. So if you have somebody that's using a Chromebook, they're basically using a computer that is just similar to a tablet. It only runs off of apps. It doesn't have like software that's installed on, and it doesn't have a files on the computer. They're only on Google Drive.
Okay.
And that is, I would recommend that for somebody maybe who is already comfortable with using that type of platform. But if you're very comfortable with Microsoft Word and, having files stored on your computer, I would not recommend a Chromebook. But they're usually much cheaper. And, for students and people that just want to use only the Google apps, they're great, but they don't have a lot of oomph, we'll say. So, and what about you, Nancy? What are your top 5 that you want to gain from your smart device?
Keep trying to mute on the wrong thing. But I think, well, I have a Chromebook myself, and I agree with you. I had used MacBooks when I was teaching, and it's an easy transition to something like this, for the things like Zoom and for how I use it now. But I had down, like with the photography and using the camera, I have about 8,000 pictures in there. And I think just being able to maybe better organize them or do more with them, because I take so many and then don't actually follow through on getting them printed, that kind of thing. Largely because I had down, I think, on the flyer about learning how to print from your smartphone or smart device. So that's something I was hoping to maybe be able to learn about or talk about tonight. And then just like the texting and communication, maps, very helpful, and maybe a little bit more with record keeping. A lot of times I take screenshots if I've ordered something or filled out a document or something like that, and I just kind of leave them in the camera roll. So I guess I should be having some system for having a way to have them more in a recorded area that I could access more easily than scrolling through the camera roll. So
yes,
I'm one of the people that's
are you using an iPhone or Apple devices?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's great, because you might not know this, but Apple and iPhone devices, they have an online component called the iCloud. So this makes it much easier to go through these things.
Yeah, because I have the iCloud, but it just saves to that. I don't do anything else with it. So I didn't-
What you do, you're going to go online to iCloud.com
Okay.
on your computer this time instead of,
Okay.
I mean, if you have, you can do this on the Google
On the
Chromebook.
Chromebook. Okay.
Yeah. And so you go to iCloud.com, sign in with your Apple ID, username and password, and
Okay.
then you can navigate to photos, contacts, calendar, all from the online component.
Oh,
And it
okay.
makes it a little easier to see everything, and you
Yeah.
can save things, you know, to your Google Drive on your Chromebook. So I would say, since you're using a Chromebook, you probably are going to want to use Google Drive for this record keeping component. And for that, I would start with a folder in your Google Drive that is labeled record keeping. And then inside that would start a yearly folder for, you know, whatever years you're going to be doing it for. You know, you want to have one folder for each year.
Mhm.
And then if you need further subdivision, you can, but if you don't, then just keep it simple like that.
Yeah, I think probably the fewer categories might be easier to start with anyway.
Yep. Yeah, you never, you want to try to avoid having more than 2 subdivisions of your folders if you can.
Good tip too. Okay.
Sometimes you can't avoid it, but most, you know, if you're doing personal use or even most business uses, like 2 or 3 sets of folders inside folders, it's probably sufficient.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Good tip. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so also another thing that I use for photo organizing is Google Photos, which is something that you have to download, and it would be separate. But I like it personally because it just lays out, it's basically the same thing as iCloud, so maybe you wouldn't need both, but since I'm not on Apple devices, so that's why I use Google Photos, which basically runs in the background and just backs up all your photos to Google Photos, which is connected to your Google account. And it just automatically organizes them by date. And then you can create albums, and you can download them all. And for printing photos, I like to use, I think it's CVS or Rite Aid online photo printing. And that I've used for a couple clients. You know, I don't know if I would use it for like tons and tons and tons of photos, but it's just basically an online system where you log in with the username and password, and then you upload your digital photos to the website. They print them, and then you go pick them up.
Okay.
So depending on how many you have, that may or may not be practical.
You said you like Rite Aid?
I think, yeah, I think it's either Rite Aid or CVS. I think it's CVS I usually go to, but they're pretty comparable in quality and
Walgreens
service.
too, I think, does it.
Yeah, they all, a lot of places like Target even, you know, you'll see the what is it, Kodak photo booth. So I usually have pretty good luck with those places, but if you know, if you had like a lot of photos, I don't know, you might be able to order them from one of the online places, like I think, is it Babel? I want to say Babel Fish or something. There's a lot of different online services that might be better if you have like a large amount, but
Yeah, because I don't expect to print all that many, but it's just when they go back, you know, a few years and there's so many of them, sometimes, yeah, just figure out which ones, and I should do it more as I go, which, so that's a good tip. But I guess, with
Yeah.
something like that with CVS, that's considered secure, going from your phone to their system, because I know there was one time, I don't know, they have always had those terms and conditions and privacy
Yeah.
policies. And, you know, I know I was just looking at one that said, to please be aware that most info transmitted over the internet is not secure. This was on St. Luke's. But thus confidentiality cannot be guaranteed. Therefore, email and correspondence on this website are not secure. And it kind of made me
Right.
not
Yeah.
proceed.
What you could do in
don't know
that
if
case, if you're worried about that,
Yeah.
you could transfer your photos onto a physical storage device like a USB stick, and then
Okay.
take it directly into the store. They have a slot where you put it in, and you could do it that way too.
That would be a way, because I didn't know what your opinion is on that security factor as far as.
I mean, if it's I think you should always be concerned about security, and you're right to read terms and services, and you know, it's very important to keep yourself secure. And like I said, using VPN is one way, that's called a virtual private network, and that's a subscription service that keeps your browsing information and other information private. So there's a lot of different choices of which one you can buy. They're usually like $5, I think, or $10 a month, depending on what it is, how many devices and this and that. But I think there are free ones, but you probably would get ads or something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think a VPN and you know, your security is very important. So never, if you ever have a, you know, red flag type feeling, like try to find an alternative way. Like with I always recommend not to ever send an email with like that contains information with your social security number, for example. And so like me, like I'll tell people, you know, if you need to give me your SSN, like drop, you know, print out the form and you drop it off my house, or you can mail it to me. But unless you have a secure server that you're going to upload it to, like for example, like I think there's like at the medical places you'll need to do a secure file transfer. But yeah, it's always it's if you can find a way to transfer the information without, like you said, sending it through online, depending on what it is, like there's different levels of sensitivity. Maybe you know, you don't need to take all these steps for your name and address, but if you're going to send like, you know, more specific information that's more private, then take extra steps. But always try to, you know, protect yourself. And
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't want to take away from everybody else's time, but
no, it's we're bring your own device, so we were just answering questions, and
thank you.
you know, specific questions are more than welcome. So I think everybody has had a little bit of time for a specific question, but we have one person, Pepper, who I'm not sure if you have anything specific. Feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat, and we'll go ahead and discuss anything you're dealing with. But
I actually use this silly one to remind me drink water.
drink water. That's great. Yeah, I think that apps that encourage habits and encourage you to do the right thing, like I think Fitbit has a water tracker too. But I think those are great because we do forget and we get very caught up in our daily routine. And so drinking water, of course, very important.
It's really called Drink Water, and it's free one, so I'm happy about it.
Good.
Just set it up, and yeah, I feel like it's not mixed up with my calendar, because sometimes the calendar pop up too many notifications. I got so confused. And
Right.
this one on my phone specifically use little notification, and I feel like, well, that's important for me to know that it's a part of little self-care, self-love.
Awesome.
That's it.
Great. Well, that's great. You know, each person has different things that they're going to use their device for. So we'll go through the rest of our little slides here. So we talked about a little bit about scanning applications. I know we had an even split, so we're going to try to even out the time where we talk about the different little applications that we can download and use to get more smart about our smart devices. So for scanning applications, you have choices. I think for all of these, you have different choices that you can choose to use, whichever one you like best, or if something's not working for you, you don't have to use it. You don't have to marry an app. So my favorite, we already talked about Google Drive. Google Drive does, the application for your mobile device does offer a scanning function, which I love. So if I open the Google Drive app, you just come to the main home screen and you use the plus button, which is where you either when you have a plus button, which is create new. So it either creates a Google Docs, a Google Sheets, a Google Slides, which is a PowerPoint equivalent. And then you have the option to scan with your camera, upload a document, or create a folder. So we would just hit scan, and then you're basically gonna have the document here in front of you, and hold your phone camera so that you're viewing the document straight down, basically. And the scanning application will pick up the differences between the background and the document. So if you are scanning from your camera using a typical white paper, you're going to want to use a black background. So if you're using a color document, you would want to have a nice white background so that the camera can pick up the differences and find the corners for you, because it's really cool. It will just basically, it like kind of highlights the outside of the document that's not part of your scan, and it automatically finds where your document is. So it makes a really clean scan. And especially if you're out and about, I think that using a scanning application on your phone is a lot easier than a printer. And especially if you have any issues with your printer, or if you find it difficult to scan with your printer, or it comes unhooked like mine does it seems like every week I have to reconnect my printer or do something to it. So if I need to just do something quick, a scan, I'll just do it on my phone. You also have the HP Smart app, which does scanning. And also that's how you will print from your phone a lot of times. And there's lots of other scanning apps. Somebody, I think one time, came to one of these classes and they had just bought one for 99 cents off the App Store. So it's just really what you're most comfortable with. And so the next would be using a calendar application. So do any of you guys use a calendar application now? You can raise your hand if you do. So about 50-50. Again, we're all even. We're even, Steven, all of us. So you can see here, this is an example of my calendar view. So you have either Google Calendar, an iPhone calendar, or the default calendar application on your phone. So most smart devices come with at least one calendar application. And if you don't like the one that you have on your phone now, you may download a different one and use a different one. So for me, for example, I like to use Google Calendar. So if it doesn't come on my phone, I have to download Google Calendar, because I'm just like, I'm lost without it. So they are all a little bit different, but they have a lot of similarities between the different programs. And you can see here on my Google Calendar, one of my favorite things about this one is that it gives you a little picture sometimes, which is, I mean, it seems silly, but it's the little things that make you like one application and not necessarily like another. And so if I'm going to a specific address, it even links up with Google Maps, I think, and it shows me a picture of what's at that address. I just love that. So, and another thing that I like about Google Calendar is that if I do put the address into the calendar event, it will give me a reminder before I'm supposed to leave. So it tells me, I get a separate notification separate from the calendar notification that says, you should leave at this time, and if you want to be on time, you have to definitely leave by this time. And that's really helpful to me because I'm a lot of times going different places on different days, and sometimes I'm going to a different location to meet a client. So that helps me a lot. And you can see that each little event, it has like a little box, so they're each separate, and you can reschedule these by hitting edit. You can, like I had a client that rescheduled, so I just edited the event and changed the date and the time, and I had the address in there still. I had all the other information about where to park still, so it was just easy enough to reschedule that. But if I had a paper planner, I would have had to completely erase it and scribble on my paper. Well, I do have a paper planner too, so so but what I use the planner more for like to-do management. So I think that having both is valid. But anyhow, so we have here also a reminder to send a birthday card. So I had one of my virtual assistants actually did this for me. She went through for all my birthdays and scheduled a reminder on my calendar every year to send a card a few days beforehand. Because obviously, like, if somebody, it's their birthday coming up, you're going to need at least a week to send a card, maybe 2 weeks now with the mail being slow. And we talked about Pepper. She told us about how she uses an app to remind her to drink water. So I also have a reminder here to walk my dogs every day, which I have not been doing as much lately. But this is like I think this is last year's calendar screenshot. But so having a reminder that pops up every day at a certain time to walk the dogs, that kind of helps me focus more on self-care and exercise and taking care of my dogs the right way like I want to. So that's the calendar. And I do color code personally my calendar. You don't have to. I have plenty of clients who have appointments that are all the same color and they like that just fine. It's not busy. But for me, I have different categories. Like I have like networking in green. I have weekly clients are dark purple. Clients that are not weekly are a different color. So I just have like a couple little different colors that help me kind of just look at it and see what I have going on. But if it's helpful just to have it all the same color and have it, easier and simpler, then just keep it the same color. And these appointments.
Color, I feel like color is really helpful for like prioritizing.
You use your colors as priority?
Yes, and I know which one I have to go, I have to show up, and sometimes I can watch the recording afterwards. For example, but this one today, our webinar today, I marked as like I want to be there present, so that's priority. Yeah.
Right. So you use and also I use a different color for virtual versus in person. So, there's a lot of different ways you can use colors. Like she said, I like that idea of doing different priorities as different colors, but whatever works best for you. And also I love the ability to make reoccurring appointments because a lot of my calendar appointments are reoccurring, and it's just so easy for me to set up a weekly or monthly reoccurring appointment versus scheduling individually and having to remember to add those every month. And I do love also the ability to share appointments with my friends and family, especially if you are trying to meet somewhere specifically out in the world. I mean, pre-COVID, when we would all go out together and meet up for coffee or meet up at a specific restaurant, it's nice to have a shared appointment because, like I said, I put the address in, you put the time in, and then get ideally you want to get the appointment exactly the way you want it before you share it with somebody. Because if you create it and share it and then you have to make a change, they'll get all kinds of different emails, and they'll get maybe turned off from the idea of sharing appointments with you. So always try to get your appointment like completely the way you want it and then share it with somebody. But from like I do that with my husband a lot of the times. Like this past week we had a vet appointment for our dog, and I just put it into my calendar, and I put the address in and the time and everything. And then once I was finished, I shared it with him, and he gets it on his phone. He gets a notification and a reminder at the time. And then I don't have to worry about like, reminding him to do it. Like I know that he has it on his calendar, and I can kind of just take it off my plate. Does anybody else do shared appointments ever with people? Laurie? What do you use shared appointments for, if you don't mind sharing, Laurie?
If I have my own appointments that I go to, but I need to let my husband know, I'll be doing this instead of, I won't be able to pick up the children, so you'll need to pick up the children, or just to let him know where I'm going at a certain time, or to let him know, we're going to go do this, like a doctor's appointment together for the kids and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so just to keep communication, especially when you have multiple family members, that to know where everybody is, and if something's different in the schedule, to know where you have to be, and exactly, that's great. So yeah, so that's pretty much. Does anybody have any questions about calendar so far, or what else did we do already? We did calendar, I think, and scanning. Yeah, scanning and calendar. Any questions? Okay, we'll keep moving because we got about 10 minutes. So we have then you have your to-do applications. So these are going to be other applications that you're going to either download or you might have already on your phone. Sometimes they will install certain applications when you get your phone. So you might have Google Keep, for example. And these, this is an example of what's called a Trello board. And each of these little lists is a to-do list. And then each little card is a to-do, basically, a thing to do. And so Trello, you can use it on your phone as an application, or you can use it online on your computer on the web side. So you would just go to Trello.com and use it there as well. So this is nice because if you have projects, or if you have an organization that you belong to, anything that requires you to have a lot of different to-dos that need to get moved along and get finished, and you maybe need to collaborate with somebody, this offers you a good way to stay organized with all of those different to-dos, and kind of
So like a project management?
Yep, this is project management. Exactly. All of these are to do and project management, basically the same thing. So there's different ones. This is Trello. Like I said, there's Google Keep, Asana, Tasks in Gmail, Google Docs. You could even use as like a simple to-do list. Like you could just start an outline of all your projects and then use that to keep your details. And if you wanted to keep it simple, you could use Google Docs, but it doesn't really have all the functions that these other ones do. So we talked about that. And you're going to want to probably do some research before you choose one of these, which one you're going to like best. But they're really helpful because they do offer the ability to share these boards. So you could share it with somebody else and assign them to things, but the other person's going to have to be comfortable with using these too. So it can get a little difficult, to have other people using it. So once you finish one of these tasks, you would just drag them and drop them to the next list. You could call the list to do and done or working on. So you're kind of just managing the tasks, and you're able to color code things. It has a lot of different features. So that would be that. And then last but not least, we have printing from your smart device. So those of you who have the iPhones are gonna have probably the easiest time with printing from your smart device. And they make it very easy when you are on a certain website. I believe you can just click the share button at the very bottom, and on there is AirPrint. You might have to scroll to the side. So I know Nancy said she was using an iPhone. Are any of the others you're also using an iPhone? So so do you want to try to do this together, iPhone people? It's gonna be a little hard because I don't have an iPhone in front of me. But Lori, do you have an iPhone? No? Okay, let me see. So just pull up something that you wanted to print. Like let's say it's either a text message or an email. And you should have on your iPhone at the bottom like a sharing menu. I think it's usually like little I'm actually gonna pull up a website because I want to be able to help you guys with this. Okay. So you're going to open the app that you want to print from, and then to find the print option, here, I'll show you. I could share this other website here. Okay, so you guys see that? So this, so you're looking for a little button that has a square and an arrow in it. And then you should be able to scroll over or scroll across and find the print icon or the little printer. And it says, and then you'll come to a screen that looks like this, and you have to select your printer, which your printer has to be connected to the Wi-Fi, the same one that you're on with your phone. And then you should, once you have the settings all correct, you should be able to hit print at the top right. And that's how you use AirPrint. So I don't want to take up all the time. I know that we also have to talk about using HP Smart to print. So first, in order to use HP Smart to print, you're going to have to download it first. And then you can hit print documents or print photos, and it just asks you to find the location of the photo or the document on your phone. And then your printer also has to be hooked up to Wi-Fi in order to use HP Smart as well. But then you should be able to just hit print and print from your Android device as well. They used to actually have it. It used to be a little bit easier, honestly, but just in January 1st, they took away this Google AirPrint. I forget what it was called, but they stopped supporting Google Print for some reason suddenly, and now they want you to find a new application. So so there's always, something's always going on like that with smart devices, where you have an app that you really like and then they take it away, or this stops working suddenly, or so that is one of those things. But for iPhone, they do make it really easy. And then with Android devices, you just have to go into the HP Smart app, or if you don't have an HP device, you're going to need to download the app that goes with your printer. So you might have to download the Brother app, the Canon app, but usually that's the way to print from your phone, is to get your printer hooked up to Wi-Fi and then download the printer's app. So definitely, if you need help with that specifically, you can always send me an email, or you know, I think, Laurie, don't you guys have like a technology help if people are struggling with something like that?
Yeah, you can email me at eplcollection@cliu.org, and I do help people with various technology questions. Usually it's e-readers and tablet questions, but I can try my hand at other technology issues.
Yeah, so you know, if you do need some extra help, let Laurie, or you know, you can certainly email me as well. So we're gonna jump to questions. So does anybody have any questions of anything that we covered tonight, or anything that came up during the class?
I'd like to say thank you. It's been very helpful for me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you all for coming.
Good ideas. And I appreciate the other people's input too, because it's helping me be more aware of some things I could consider or to think about. So thank you to everybody.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you everybody for coming. You know, feel free to follow me on Facebook, or you know, follow my website and check out the events in the future. We're gonna have another one next month that is gonna be staying close while we're far away, and that's gonna be about the same type of thing, like connecting with friends and family that are non-local through using Zoom meetings and through different other things, that, you know, sending gifts online, different things like that. So feel free to sign up on Eventbrite, and that is on my website as well. And thank you to Laurie and the Emmaus Public Library for hosting us tonight. We always have a good time at these classes, and certainly love the library and everything they do. And like I said, here's my website if you want to sign up for any future events, or if you want to know more about what I do as a personal concierge. Please feel free to subscribe to my blog or check out the next events coming up. And thank you all for coming. So I appreciate
Thank you, Melissa.
everybody. You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you so much for hosting it. I got a lot of new ideas, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
It was an
You're
hour very
welcome.
well spent. Thank you.
Good to
Awesome.
see you, Jutta.
Hi, Jean.